Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I genuinely mean this. Well done for making it this far. It's been a lot to cover in 2 days. Of course, you may have taken slightly longer than that, or maybe the opposite, less. The point is you're almost there at the home stretch now, the end of the 2-day accelerator. We just need to get the footprint chart installed and get you using it. Once you start using it and see what you are missing out on, you will never want to place another trade without order flow information again. So let's get it installed. Now, I just wanted to briefly mention before we do the installation that we will talk through the footprint. Of course, I will show you how to use it, but let's do it differently. Let's just do it directly on the charts whilst you actually have it in front of you. You have your platform ready now, so no reason not to just get straight into it. Now, you'll be pleased to know I have everything ready for you. As I mentioned before, given my background, I've built the sorts of tools institutions use multiple times for multiple different firms. That is great news for you because I'm literally just going to give it to you, which is going to save you a lot of time, money, and unnecessary headache. You saw for yourself to buy a decent depth of market can be expensive, and to get a very high quality footprint, the type actually used by banks and institutions, can equally cost a significant amount of money. However, for the reasons I already mentioned in previous videos, I'm giving it to you free. I just wanted to remind you of that so you feel confident that you're working with someone who has your best interests in mind. So let's get it installed. Now, in the download section, just to make life easier, I've set up the footprint charts for you individually for 4 select markets. So you'll see a footprint file you can use on your Sierra chart for pound dollar, euro dollar, S&P 500 and crude oil, the 4 most popular markets. If you want any others, just email us. We will be happy to send you any market you like free of charge. Of course, as long as the contract is available on the futures exchange. Just drop us an email and we'll send you what you need if it's not one of these 4. Having said that, my personal recommendation is, whilst you're learning, stick to one of these 4 as they have a lot of participation from big institutions, and so it'd be much more beneficial to your learning to stick to these, at least for the purpose of our time learning together. So just stick to one of these for now. You're more than welcome to explore other markets later, no issues. So let's start with GBP USD just to get you going, and then we can move on to other markets after. So very simple first step. Same as you saved the depth of market file to the data folder, do exactly the same. Download the 4 footprint files from the download section of the course. They should appear in your downloads folder. Just to make life easier, it is probably better you copy all 4 files in one go, as I'm doing here. So all 4 footprint files, copy them from your downloads folder into the Sierra chart data folder, the same way you copied the depth of market.cht file into the data folder. Just do exactly the same with the footprint files. Then you can close this window. Open up your Sierra chart grey console as usual. Make sure it is a blank canvas. You know by now, institutional traders like me, we love our blank canvas. Having said that, everything is done for you. I've already built it out. You literally just need to open the footprint file. To do that, click on File, Open Chartbook, and it should be there. Double click on GBP footprint. If it is not there, you can locate it by going direct to the data folder by clicking on Folder, then clicking on the data folder. So double click to open up the footprint, and you should be met with 2 charts like this. I have kept them compact intentionally, same as I did for the depth of market, as everyone will have different screen sizes. So I just wanted to make sure it opens up roughly in the middle for everyone. Now, don't panic. They will either be blank or say symbol settings not found for current service. Perfectly normal, easy fix. Same as you did for the depth of market. Just go to the grey console, click on Edit, Translate Symbols to Current Service. It should then fire up. If for any reason the data on the chart is not centered or even off screen, remember to just double click on the price and it should just center it. Sometimes it can also take a few minutes to download and load the data, so give it 5 minutes if it's doing that. Eventually, you should have something like this. Now, whilst it should be working for 99.9% of you, just for good practice, as you did in the DOM section, just make sure the contract you see here matches what is below this video in the course section. I will try and make sure you always have the latest contract loaded, but it is just good practice for you to check anyway. Remember how to do that? Click on chart settings symbol, then click on this space here and hit select then make sure the selected contract matches what is below this video in the course section. 99.9% of the time it will match. You won't need to do anything and you should just be good to go. If not, just make it match and press OK. Do the same for both charts. I won't bother doing that with you. I will leave you to check the other chart. Final few settings just to get the footprint chart working as optimally as possible. If you go to your Grey console and click on File, Data, Trade, Service Settings, click on Common Settings, then where it says Intra-Day Storage Time Unit, change that to 1 tick, then click on OK. Now for this to take effect on the footprint, you will need to click on Edit, Delete All Data and Download. Just click OK to this, give it a few minutes just to clean the data. This setting we just changed, as you may have guessed already. Just make sure we are getting every single individual transaction coming through down to the very tick. So you can be confident you now have access to every transaction other banks and institutions are seeing. Now, as we did in the DOM installation section, fairly straightforward. You can just reorganize these to fit your screen. I will just split it like this for now, as I'm doing here. Now, just like with the DOM, it may not look as perfect as this. Just have a little play around with it if you need to. For example, if your charts are a little squashed like this, you can just play around with the y-axis. Remember how to do that. Hold Control and squeeze the axis, or alternatively right click, select Interactive Scale Range, squeeze the axis to get it looking how you want. Then very important, remember to right click again on the price and always set this back to Interactive Scale Move. This will allow you to just move the axis freely again, or you can just double click on it. Same for the x-axis. Remember, you can just squeeze it until you're happy. Do the same for the chart. It doesn't have to be perfect, just rough. Finally, you can just play around with the gap here between the last bar and the edge of the chart, if you remember, by using Lock Fill Space. Click on Chart, uncheck Lock Fill Space, then just move it around as I'm doing here, and then lock it by pressing Chart, Lock Fill Space again, and it will be stuck in that position for you. Again, I'll leave you to do that for both charts. Okay, so that is all set up. I already showed you how to change font sizes for your chart in the previous installation video. You click on Chart, Graphic Settings, Chart, Fonts, then Chart Text, hit Select, and it will give you the options there. Now finally, just for completion's sake, you can also change the font sizes here on the footprint if you like. Click on Analysis, Studies, then make sure Numbers bars at the top is selected, hit Settings, scroll down until you see maximum and minimum font size or automatic font size, and just play around with those. So I have them both set at 12. I can change them both to 14 and hit Apply. You can see it made the font size bigger. I personally prefer 12, so I'll leave it as that. And finally, if you click on Numbers, Bars, Calculated Values, Settings, now I leave the font size here as 0. You can play around with it if you wish. For example, if I put in 12, hit Apply, you can see it changed the font size at the bottom. I prefer to leave it as 0 as it automatically finds the best fit for me. Just remember to hit Save once you've made all the changes you want by going to the Grey console and selecting File, then Save. Okay, now as I said in the DOM setup section, no need to spend more than 5 minutes playing around with the settings, plenty of time for all that later. And in any case, if everything already looks roughly like this, no need to do much, just lay it out and move on to the next video. I won't repeat this for all 4 of the footprint chart books you have loaded. You can apply the exact same steps we have gone through in this video to all 4 chart books if you decide to use them. However, just stick to GBP USD for now and worry about the others later. I would also suggest you don't play with the footprint just yet. I have one short video after this explaining to you what is going on, then I will get you to start playing around with it yourself. See you in the next video.